Episode 10.
Episode 10, baby.
Welcome to the Long and Thick podcast, where your two Momotaro denim-loving uncles break down the health and wellness space, help you cut through the bullshit and the noise.
Yeah.
Wickety. Episode 10. Life-giving things that aren't training.
Yes.
Who would have thought there was such a thing?
There is no other things other than training.
All I know is weight and movement.
Yes, that is all.
That's all I care about.
But no, there are plenty of other things in this world that you need to take solace in and take joy from other than the things that make you healthy and increase your longevity.
Yeah, I agree.
What you got?
Yeah, we got 4 points to cover today. First of which, why hobbies matter. So what are some of your favorite hobbies?
Sure.
And I think, or just what are things that bring life to your life is a better way to think of it.
Yeah, some of them have been creative pursuits over the years. Some of them are just activities that make you feel good. Simple as that. Doesn't have to be complicated.
Creative like what?
Creative like what? I mean, I have a big tenure in music in my past. So that came on the side of playing, writing, producing for other artists. Did that for a very long time in my life. So that was always a cool muscle to flex to keep it super fucking punny. But beyond that, I've taken up photography in later years, videography in small bouts, whether it be in the gym, travel, for instance. But even beyond that, I mean, I grew up as a computer gamer as a teenager. So that was quintessential. And as a part of my day, it would be get through school, rifle through homework as fast as possible, and then just grind on Diablo 2.
Collect those fucking skins, dude.
Yeah. Or, try to just embarrass people on Half-Life, Team Fortress, or Counter-Strike, OG days. So that was always great. It was just a way to escape reality a little bit, connect with your buddies. It's I do feel like training straddles hobby and function in my life because I really do enjoy it.
Sure.
It is a character trait in me now. It can't be helped.
Yeah.
But in terms of stuff that have no pressure in terms of my success, the hobbies are a nice change of pace from, I'm generally a workaholic by nature.
Sure.
So being able to not do that and just pull from that, photography being the most recent version of that, which has just been great too.
How old of a love child is she?
Well, the iteration currently is in 35 millimeter film photography. That's a newer thing. That's last 2 year and a half.
Okay.
Maybe. Anything before that was all digital photography, and that some of it came as a work motivated thing, like content creation and promotion and things like that, but still taking a camera with me whenever I traveled and going to national parks, other countries, and just being able to have a nice memory, but also push it to the extent of really being creative and trying to capture the best images possible. It was always fun.
Yeah.
What about you? What scratches the itch?
I mean, also a creative hooligan. I think I've always had a affinity towards art. Fortunately, I guess, I can draw naturally.
He plays mean hangman.
Not much of a painter in terms of other mediums. I thought about tattooing at one, juncture in life. Also play music. I feel like that whole left and right brain thing, I'm pretty hard in the creative side and less of the logical mathematic mindedness, which isn't really very real of a thing. But anyway, yeah, I mean, those things I think are more important to me than fitness. And fitness is a means of being able to continue those things. I mean, I think about our time, recently in Japan, and while we didn't do anything horribly taxing, I think it's so lost on us as fit people. And the other party that's not here that was with us is also a fit person. Like that people would have probably like suffered through that had they tried to keep up. I mean, just
an ambitious itinerary.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of steps, carrying luggage upstairs. Fortunately, there's a lot of escalators in Japan just for efficiency's sake, but like it's not chill. Like we weren't like we were moving and grooving, and like if we weren't fit and healthy, that would have been a fucking nightmare. And so, you know, we got to enjoy that aspect of, you know, exploring and traveling because of, you know, fitness. And so
without a physical detriment holding us back, limiting our abilities, our happiness, all of those things.
100%. So I think, things that really like give me a lot of life, especially after having gone away, you get like, you know, this reinvigoration into like those areas that have some of the cobwebs blown off, so to speak, right? Like I found myself drawing more in the last like few days even, and just picking up the guitar more and just trying to like express more, not in some crazy metaphysical, you know, deep way, but just as just a means of like enjoying it and just like having it as a thing.
And I think that's important to recognize too, because most of what we talked about is ways of making yourself feel better, being healthier, more health conscious, more fitness minded, worry about your longevity. But all that being said, like really the bread and butter we're talking about is still feeling your best, not making everything only about your health and wellness.
Sure.
And then trying to carve out some time for you as a person, what makes you tick internally, what gets your fire going, gets the needle moving in terms of like enlivening your soul. Like that is something that we've probably never really talked about too much yet. Is that like all of this is to make you feel best, to think your best, to actually be able to enjoy your life. You're not meant to work, you know, sun up to sundown. Most people do, unfortunately, nowadays. But it is finding a way to feel your best, to be able to enjoy the little pockets of time to the fullest, i.e. us going to Japan, and never having a concern along the way that like our bodies or our health were really going to suffer or hold us back. So I think that at the end of the day, like we just want everyone set up for the best of success to enjoy the time that they have for themselves. That's that, you know, I think you'd agree. The bottom line in all of this is that like, sure, a lot of this takes work and focus, but it's the discipline and the systems to enjoy when you don't have to work or be focused and have those pieces of your life feel and operate the best.
And not to say that there's not like physical components or things like you can be a power lifter and your hobby is, you know, really striving towards hitting that new bench PR or whatever. For my like physical endeavors that aren't like training related, like, man, I want to be able to play fucking pickleball in 20 years and spike ball and like dive for something and not turn into a bag of ash and like, you know, like skateboard.
Have all of your joints just decimate. Your ligaments just like come off like fucking confetti.
Oh my God. Yeah. I don't want any of that. And so like, I do also love to train. Like I love all the things that come with exercising and how my body feels, what it looks like all of it. There's not a single part that I'm like, no, I'm not a advocate for, but you're right. It's like, it's only just a vehicle for being able to, you know, move my arms so I can cook and like pick shit up and do other stuff, like have a functional normal life.
Have the best relationship with your kids or nephew, nieces, things like that. Like things that allow the good quality, wholesome times for yourself to feel and operate their best.
What is a hobby or like interest or thing of yours that you think people would never in a million years guess is something that you liked?
I'll just throw myself under the bus right now. If like full nerdom back in the day, like Magic the Gathering was huge and formative in my upcoming years. I don't play that much now.
Sure.
If I visit friends in Florida, we'll still rip some games. I mean, did it this past December even. But yeah, most people, one, don't credit me for ever being a musician, let alone playing like in extreme death metal bands growing up. And like, wait, you? And I'm like, yeah. But then also too, like being deep in the gaming sauce of all sorts. So yeah, it's fun.
Do you still watch like any like Twitch stuff or like any like YouTube clips?
Not too much, gaming? But I mean, there was a time where like that was a guilty pleasure as well. As I feel like when
you and I first like started being homies, you were in a pocket of like watching Helldivers clips and just like
or like the
like just in the background. Yes.
It would be like my little guilty pleasure of like if I was sitting down just eating half hour to myself, like if I wasn't listening to a podcast, it would just be watching some people just absolutely rip these crazy games.
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's so
games that I don't have time to really commit to myself, but like you get a morsel of it for yourself.
Yeah.
What about beyond hobbies though? What else like really just starts to like scratch the itch for your soul?
Yeah. I mean, I think like probably my biggest piece is like friendships, like maintaining and growing friendships. I feel very fortunate for the life that I've had, but I have, had my fair share of like colorful upbringing. And so friends for me have been a place of like filling so many familial spaces in ways that are like very, very deeply profound. And I would say arguably the most important thing in my life. Like I wouldn't bat an eye at like flying to the bedside of a friend in the hospital, like if need be.
Yeah.
I say that as my friend who just had a fucking 6.5 millimeter kidney stone got sent into the pain
of which all of your other homies were just roasting him in the group chat.
Oh yeah. Pee hole minister, they call him, which is fucking crazy. But I mean, he didn't need me to fly there. That's the difference is like,
but had he needed you would have.
If he was like, yeah, can you be here? I'd be like, yeah. And I would make it happen.
Can you rub my tootsies, please?
Yeah. Fucking pull this stent out for me.
Oh God. Lawnmower, baby.
I mean, that travel, like anytime I travel, I feel like it's beautiful and terrible. I have like a deep existential awakening that I'm like, holy shit. Like, I mean, the plane ride back has been interesting for me. Well, we can touch on that and next time, but obviously my family, I absolutely love my family. But I think, those are the things that are like my deepest pillars. I would say all of my hobbies and interests of skateboarding, Pokemon, video games, tattoos, music, like all of those are one big ball. And all of these other things are all individual like stones that are like vital to me.
Sure.
What about you? Are you pretty much in the same camp? Or
no, it's like for me, I've always had like close family. I mean, I don't have a ton. Let me rephrase. I have a ton of extended family. I never have been close with them. I mean, my little family unit of parents and half sister, that's basically been my main shell. But we were all very close. And they've always been a great support system and structure for me. I have waned and waxed with, the tribe aspect of it. That's not because I don't think it's valid. It's just where like my oscillations with like reclusiveness in different points of my life, whether it be being buried in work or, other means, it's what I'm trying to say ultimately is like the tribe is the most important, it's everything else. Like no person is an island. We're not supposed to be solitary creatures by nature. And like you start to feel that, like, can you focus your way through it? Sure. Can you just lean on discipline somewhere and do it? But like
technically
the minute you get your head out of the sand and like lean into your people and start doing more things just for fun, that's when things really start feeling better. And you're like, oh, like this feels better. Life feels more like vivid and vibrant. And that if people are better about checking in with themselves, they'd also realize that, which most people unfortunately are not, because we're just stuck in this rat race a lot of time. And if you're just trudging along, and not thinking about how your life can be uplifted by relationships with other people, whether it be friends or family, you're missing out pretty sorely. And I think the other supplementation to that is having pets. You know, I've always had a dog in my life, if not multiple. So that's pretty vital. And I think some people just maybe don't need or understand or want that companionship, but like you have your dog people, your cat people, your bird people. But there is something about adding horse people, fucking emotional support turtle, whatever you need. But yeah, having this other thing in your life that is dynamic and reactive and adds a dimension that is constantly new. And you're like, you're a quirky little son of a bitch, but I love you. So, you know.
And outside of yourself.
And your own. And, you know, we can shoehorn this back into systems, but it also creates a system for you, a method of accountability to make sure you can hold something down. And not just be a completely aloof piece of shit. To keep this other thing alive and think about something else other than yourself. Not to say that everyone is going to do that, but it's nice, you know, to pour yourself into something else and have this thing love you semi-unconditionally until like you step on its paw. And you're like, what the fuck did you do that
Pull
for?
its whisker out by accident.
And you're like, I'm so sorry. And they never know the apology. They just like thought you just wanted to smoke them randomly. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna think about this for the next 4 days.
They're just, oh my God.
I wish you could reason with animals a little better. It's like, please understand I didn't mean to do that. And like, not today, dude. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's real. Man, the itch for a dog is...
I know, I was just about to segue. It's like, what about you? How's that looking
strong.
How's that looking?
I mean, I run through like these windows of excuses, honestly, of being like, no, now's not a good time. And my last rationale was, well, we're going to Japan for 2 weeks. Like I shouldn't get a dog. It's irresponsible to get a dog. And here we are not in Japan anymore. And, I got some fun Wags and Walks Instagram ads that have been assaulting my brain.
The algorithm's been listening. So it's like, yo.
Oh, she knows it all. But yeah, I mean, that's something I think I'll do here soon. It's like we were talking about in the last episode, like just do the thing. Obviously there's a time and place, so you could be very irresponsible and be like, oh fuck, I was not ready for this. But I've had dogs before. I know what that entails. And so,
and to full circle this, you also have tribe and community
and a support system that's like, yo, get a dog. We'll watch it. We'll literally
that will help you along the way. That like this thing is not going to suffer. Your life will not suffer at its behest. So it'll be fine.
Get
the fucking dog.
Fine. Heard. Yeah, man. I mean, the beauty of all of these things is that it, I think, gives you more appreciation for training, for the time where you aren't drawing, playing music, whatever. Like it keeps the balance of, proper proportions for an individual. Sure. And if your whole life is training, I don't know. I don't think it can really be that in a healthy way outside of like, having an event. If you're training for
a competitive world-class athlete where like your livelihood, your legacy, or even potentially your salary is dependent on it.
Sure.
Different story. But
even
for the
then,
vast majority of other people, like you're inflating this idea of importance more than it's actually needs that level of importance.
Yeah.
So
the thing too with like folks that whose whole life is training, or if you're in the NFL or you're a whatever type of, Olympic competitor and that's been your thing, your tribe also will like reflect that very heavily. And so you still get these other things we're talking about. They just all are sort of pointing towards training, where ours are a little more like a tangled thing where it's like this one's pointing at like learning German and this one over here is talking about coloring books because it's just like random shit. So it's like the headlights for those types of individuals are just so honed in on all things in that realm. Whereas
and it's easy. I understand it's easy to get tunnel vision and exalt these ideals to like epic proportions. Like this is my North Star of all time, like careers, for instance, for people. And that can be the case if you're an entrepreneur, you're building something from the ground up, like, but again, at a certain point, like you need to start carving time for yourself and your own happiness. And, you know, cause I've done the head down thing for years and just like, oh, well, you just work. And, you know, it's sure you can, and it does, certain things get set up and certain things do need time, but you run in this back and forth thing where you're like, well, what if you just spend all this time focusing on building these things and these income statements and all this kind of stuff, but you really pass up the best years of your life in that pursuit? And you're like, well,
fuck,
I got to spend all this money now, but I'm not feeling my best. I don't have the same people around me anymore because I alienated all those.
Sure.
It's just, I mean,
like life situations change.
Try to keep some perspective. Like obviously, you know, money does open up a lot of opportunity doors. There's no doubt about it. But it's not everything. It's
not. And the people who have the most are typically like, like I'm missing a lot of stuff, right? You can be, I was listening to an interesting podcast recently, talking about, you know, this isn't new information for anybody, but you can be a billionaire and just like be an absolute fucking miserable bastard ready to kill yourself. Or you can live in the slums in Brazil and be like one of the happiest people.
It's all, it's all relative.
It is. And your ability to, you know, focus your attention and your perception and choose to really like alter your outlook on things. It comes from, you know, within. And I think the more of these positive things you have in your life, other people, other things, travel, I think is, I don't know anything that is as profound as that outside of like maybe people's like DMT or ayahuasca journeys, because it just is like such a brain rocking thing that like compares, honestly.
Kicks the pillars of your reality kind of thing.
It just challenges you in such a way where you're like, whoa, this really isn't everything. So, yeah, man, I mean, hobbies and tribe and family and friends and all these things are vital. There's no point to train if you don't have those things in your life, really. Like, so we can move on into our next little segment here. We got partners, relationships that are romantic, and then we'll talk a little bit about novelty.
So yeah, all things not training, good for the soul. What about romantic someone's in one's life?
Yeah, very, very important.
Significant or otherwise.
Yeah, I think, you know, is it a need? Technically, no, I suppose. I mean, you talked about how people don't do as well sequestered off into their own, you know, little stratosphere, which I agree with. Can you technically do it? Yeah. I mean, there's monks that live in silence for 30 plus years. And I can't imagine, not talking for fucking 5 minutes, let alone I've done silent days and more, but, yeah. Do you need it? No. Is it something that adds so much to your life? Yes.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's also just a basest human instinct to
procreate. Yeah. Right.
So there's something always ticking in the background. It's like, hey, you need to spread the seed. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think some of the most profound changes in my own perception of myself and my worldviews, I would argue, could have only been fostered from a place of having a intimate relationship with somebody. I mean, the vulnerability you experience, the growth, it can be fucking horrendously painful.
True.
It can be the most intense bliss that you didn't even know was imaginable, right? Like, it shows you a lot about you in ways that you otherwise would not have been exposed to. Sure.
Because their behavior and their feedback in your presence is nearly always a reflection of what you're bringing to the table. Good, bad, or otherwise.
It is the most punchy mirror I have ever looked into. And boy, is it revealing. Yeah. I mean, what would you say have been some of your like most profound takeaways from, you know, romantic relationships. And
sure. Yeah, no, it's a insight into yourself and the human condition too, when it comes down to cohabitation, compromise, all those things, which, you know, depending on the current position in your life could be jarring. It could be exactly what you need. But no, when you really have the right people in your life and you really like do allow like the entangling of feelings and intentions or lifestyles to really come together, you know, it is intoxicating for sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's hard to deny that place when it is right, you know, because everything does feel better. Like your thoughts feel more elevated. Even your free time with that person, you know, starts to feel more wholesome. You breathe easier. Like just being in their presence is a comfort, and like, you know, a reinforcement to a lot of good things. And you hope that everyone gets that, and no relationship is perfect.
of course.
But yeah, I mean, people that I work with, or even like myself, friends, family, doesn't matter. Like you can see the palpable shift in their focus, their demeanor, their overall just like position in life when they do find the right person. You know, and you can say the opposite if it's not right.
And when it all
like,
falls apart,
like the, you know, their pillars of their life are starting to crumble a little bit and they look lost. Sure. But it really is, you know, great when you see someone's energy shift, like soar to the positive when they really find the right one.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's not always, you know, did they find their next husband or wife? It might be their next relationship. It could be, unfortunately, just to distill it down, it could be like the next hookup. But, you know, you can tell, you know, if doesn't matter, man, woman, if something comes across their radar and like you just see a glow in their eye or a pep in their step or like, it's like, what happened? Like, well, you know, he or she, you know, unexpected, but here it is.
Yeah.
And that's just a very real thing on a chemical level, whether it be truly deep, wholesome emotional connection or just, you know, crazy chemical entanglement that just like
rocked your fucking world.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things that it's hard to find a substitute for. There's no proxy to it in the natural world, really.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So that's definitely something that can add a certain gravitas in your life outside of training and systems.
Yeah.
Is that like when the right person either finds their way in and out of your life quickly and you're like, oh shit. Or if the other right person just sets up shop and you're like, oh, I really do think my destiny is now forever changed because of this person.
Damn.
And that's pretty rad.
Yeah. I think I think you did a really great job in sort of summarizing both of those. And I think this might be my post deconstruction of faith outlook, but you could tell me if you think this is right. Like, I would say more often than not in like health and wellness spaces, people are more attached to the idea of like that stable nuclear family, or even like the relationship being what you described earlier as like your core person, as opposed to any type of like fling stuff or dating culture or whatever. Not to say that there's not a place for it, but I think most people will say like that's where the real, you know, substance is. And I would counter that again with the idea of like your perspective will determine that.
Your place in life will also determine that too. Like whatever you're going through or have maintained or are recovering from, what your life will allow as well. Yeah.
I mean, if you have not done the work within yourself as a anxious attached person who has learned and come miles away from that.
Yeah.
Had I been in a fucking like crazy one night stand kind of thing, that would ruin me.
Sure.
in the like moons ago, that would have been like devastating because it would have been like going to the stars and then just getting my fucking legs cut off and being like, actually, you're not on a star.
Which on a conversely transparent fashion, I am like pretty much quintessential opposite, where I am a easily detached, usually avoidant person, given how things started in Florida.
Sure.
Which like there's no traumatic backstory to that. But like if you grow up or spend any time in South Florida, you know it's a different set of rules. So that level of social conditioning did not also set me up for success on the other side of things, because where you may overinflate the importance of this fling, I might unfortunately undervalue something that could be amazing, and you know, because I am avoidant and slow playing it. And again, it's a work in progress on both sides, from different sides of the spectrum, but still the same thing.
And the beauty in it is that despite the feelings that come along for the ride, it is the ride. Like good, bad, or ugly, or beautiful, lovely, and amazing. Like there's both of those things happening simultaneously in some way, shape, or form. And you only get to know by
getting on the ride. Yeah. And people love the peaks and valleys.
Sure. Or to just speculate about all of it and just be like a contrarian to everything. Is so that feels like the vibe of our last, I don't know, at least 5 years. Someone just hopping on a fucking mic and being like, well, actually, and you're like, okay, you've never done anything in your life. Cool.
True.
Clear.
And it's a bunch of people, man and woman alike. I'm not like separating by sex, but everyone just voicing their icks and all that stuff. I'm like, if you just got off the internet and didn't use this, I mean, it's very ironic. I understand the irony of like, we're also talking on a platform, but is like, trying to rifle through every negative thing and like this toxicity. It's just like, well, you're just reinforcing all these bad things. You're keeping it very close to your orbit by even constantly refreshing all this nonsense. Just go out there, have some human experiences, get the fuck off your phone. Stop using that to temper your expectations for what reality actually is. Have a human experience, shut up, maybe grow a little bit.
Hopefully, right? That usually is what happens.
Well, in terms of getting out there, let's talk about travel.
I feel like we glossed over it before. Traveling, I'll say again, is like I would argue alongside a deeply profound relationship is the most eye-opening thing you can experience. Like it takes you outside of your bubble, takes you outside of your habitat, all of your safety nets, especially when you don't go from fucking, you know, New York to New Jersey. That's not the travel we're talking about. Although good start. You're at least like, you know, seeing some new, you know, neighborhoods and yada, yada. But go to a new country, go to a place where you have
your language norms are challenged.
Your culture is just completely up on its, and go with people who honor and respect that there is a difference, instead of you trying to take with you your home and implant it into whatever situation you're in.
We're gonna bullet point that one for the next episode, because there's something that we probably are both immediately thinking about right now.
Oh yeah,
the bus. But we'll move on.
Yes.
That'll be next episode.
God. Yeah. Fuck.
But continue. I didn't mean to derail.
No. It's good. We're getting people excited. What the fuck is the bus? What does that mean?
We're just going to break down Keanu Reeves' speed for the entirety of the episode. That's it.
Oh my God. No, man, but travel, I mean, one of the main reasons I'm still alive. I mean, it's just one of those things that just is so beautiful and lovely and impactful, and just the eye-opening experiences you have in that space are just unmatched. I mean, it just is, there is nothing that can substitute it. Like,
and that's kind of like an open call to action too. If you have not done much travel in your life, whether it be lack of interest or lack of opportunity, that needs to be addressed, because you don't know what you're missing. Like it's, you know, I can pretty confidently say that if you've never done any large scale travel, like there is an entire element of life that you've missed out on.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to continue to miss out on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because again, that exchange in the human experience, that exposure to completely different cultural norms. And again, some people might not have the best time relinquishing authority of their old ways to adopt some new ones. But I mean, even if it's a shorter trip, like most anyone in a completely new atmosphere should be able to take something away, whether it be wisdom, experience, memory, something.
Yeah.
So that's my take on that. Is there's so much beauty to be seen in the natural world and the human world. So much cultural exchange that, music was a big affording, notion for that for me, is because being able to travel close to all 50 states, 20 some odd countries via music, and your core relatability is music.
Sure.
But because of that, that's just a starting point in the conversation.
Yeah.
And then it comes to like, okay, so how do things happen in your country? How do things happen in your country? And some of it's like the most humbling thing. Some of it's the most like reality checking things. So I've played music in places that probably I shouldn't have been, all things considered, like war-torn countries. And then it really exposes like how our media works or doesn't work. So like, that was another crazy humbling thing, is going in so many other countries and having other countries so much more well-versed about our politics, what's happening on our congressional floor, all this stuff. I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I'm screwing up.
Well, it's funny how far our heads are up our asses here, like comparatively. It's just this like, and
again, we're not saying America's not great, but our focus,
far from it,
and where our emphasis lies a lot of time is very askew sometimes compared to the rest of the natural world.
Yeah, and like you said, you don't get to know or appreciate that until you do, which is just like, sounds so dumb and like duh, but like go and see it and feel it and know it for yourself. Well, what's like the maybe 1, 2, or 3 top sort of moments, if there's things that come to mind, in terms of like some of your travel experience that was like the most eye-opening, or like a favorite country that you saw, a memory that you will have on repeat is part of your sayonara from life. Like
it again circles back to our most recent trip, but I mean, two of the most important trips of my life have both been to Japan. And Japan, for a lot of people as a destination, isn't as sexy as something like an Italy, a France, or a Switzerland. It's often not high on someone's list until you've like come from people that maybe have already consumed their culture, whether it be like in a pop culture reference, anime, gaming, something, if you weren't a Nintendo kid or anything like that, like nothing might actually resonate with you. But all that being said, even if none of that makes any sense, for the people that even just happen to end up there, their lives are usually forever changed because of how the culture is so considerate, respectful, quiet, which is a very funny thing, because you start to realize just how like loud and overbearing the general American reality is. And you're like, oh wow, like you don't have to be that over the top. So yeah, and again, not everything in Japan is perfect.
Of course not.
But it does show you the value in really simple, very elegant things of how a different walk of life could actually conduct themselves. That a lot of great times in mainland Europe via music, which is hard to like distill down to any single one. It's like, that was the most important, but just being able to like quickly cherry pick a bunch of different stuff, being in a new country pretty much every day, that I think was pretty indispensable for me. And then probably the other side of that being like just the national parks out west in America. I mean, just getting lost in the mountains and the wilderness. And when you see like the natural beauty of some place, because I grew up in Florida, there is no natural beauty. The beaches are like a distant 47th to the beautiful things that I've seen in this world. So Florida doesn't have to offer much. Tennessee has some slightly better moments, but when you start getting out west where topology really matters, you're like, damn, like,
yeah, dude,
TLC was on some shit, with waterfalls, lakes, rivers you're used to?
They fucking knew it. Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I would say almost all of it comes to, I mean, for sure, like experiences with people. I really, really, really love South America. I have a huge place in my heart for everywhere in South America. Europe too. I have family in Germany. I've been plenty of times. Japan obviously is just like life-changing. Africa is crazy. Anywhere that I have gone, I think the thing that is the most mesmerizing for me in the experience has always been related to weather and just the natural environment. I remember very vividly thunderstorms in Austria that were like completely silent, but it looked like someone was fucking scribbling in the sky with lightning. Like I've never seen anything like it before.
That's cool.
I don't know what kind of thunderstorm it is, or lightning storm. I don't know. I guess it's just a lightning storm because there's no sound. But anyway, being in Brazil, again, a actual thunderstorm, like I feel like the bolts were the size of like buildings. Like the reverb and power and just like the awe that you feel and just how nothing you are in that moment. Like you could just be evaporated by
you're
a
truly
fucking energy
insignificant
that
at
just
that point.
Yep, like things like that. I mean, you just, I don't know, you just can't know that unless you've felt it and known it and seen it. And that might not be the experience for somebody else, but for me, it's always been, I've always felt very captivated and appreciative. And
you also can't personally help how emphatic that memory is to you.
That's
and
true.
Everyone's going to basically have a different level of emphasis when they're somewhere anyway. The bigger takeaways. So that's the cool part about that subjective experience is that someone who went to Brazil or Argentina or Colombia, anything like that, it's like, oh, it was this. And I was like, that's cool. But like, I got this.
Exactly. And that's, and when you go with other people, if you travel with other people that are good to travel with, like, having felt both of those things, travel with people that are very bad to travel with, and the high end of the other spectrum is like, it enhances your experience so much because their excitement around things that could be mutual to yours is like just exponential force that like that cup of coffee is now 5 times better because I'm not just sipping it alone.
And we're all fucking jazzed.
Yeah, so it is just an electric, beautiful thing to experience. Anything else to add on like traveling?
No, I mean, I think it basically covers. Basically, the end all be all is see as much of the natural world and the civilized world as you can.
Yeah.
Because you're always going to be able to take something away from it, small or large.
Yeah.
You will take with you for the rest of your days, and that will make a small but very positive impact in your life.
Yeah.
And again, even if it's necessarily isn't the greatest experience, you're like, well, I don't need that anymore. I don't like that.
Yeah.
There's wisdom to be gained. But I would say every exposure to a new society or culture or land has always brought with it so much positivity and change in perspective that is forever slightly perspective changing.
Yeah.
But beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, that ties really well. We have a few minutes left. Like, what you're talking about in that is basically like exposure to novelty, right? Like travel is that on crack, but a way to add depth and color and beauty and challenge and growth to your life is to intentionally expose yourself to novelty. So we all want to do things that are familiar to us, but you need to be picking things that are hard, that are new, that you're going to fucking suck ass at pretty regularly. I mean, that's what training is, right? Like you get super, super good at something, time to change that angle on the bench. You don't just only flat bench, like there's an incline, a decline, the dumbbells, right? Like a million other things to do to sort of add some flair to your experience. What is something novel that you are aiming to do this year?
Well, we kind of always come back to this, but I do want to learn Japanese now. Like rather than just like talk about it and like us fumble through a few phrases, but like actually make a concerted effort of a curriculum and like forcing myself to be accountable to like this many words, sentences, whatever quarterly, just to actually get some semblance of like mini fluency. Yeah. Cause I would like to be fluent in a couple of years. That would be great. Yeah. Cause the more we talk about it, the more I've experienced it. The Japanese culture is something that's pretty paramount to what I want in my future. Yeah. But beyond that, I want to get better with like financial literacy, investments, things like that. That's been my latest consuming hobby is just all things stock market, options, you know, income statements, earnings, all of that kind of stuff, rifling through
the gibberish that will eventually become coherent, good things that you can understand.
So again, a lot of it's just like, well, you know, like you said, it's an unknown. It's something you're going to suck at, and you know, you have no business talking about it necessarily out loud, but more so just finding ways of soaking up information and then applying it, then being terrible at it and learning to get better. Because basically, we've talked about this before. You know, my mantra is, you know, fail fast, learn fast. Yeah. I am very good personally at wasting a bunch of time and trying to imagine the best possible outcome. And it's definitely a do as I say, not as I do. Just fuck it up. Just do it. Don't think about it. Just have the first instinct and just start fumbling around.
Yep. You'll be better off and your 100%. Life will be better.
Yeah. And you will get there so much faster than someone at my core, quintessentially like me, that would love to overplan and imagine the most perfect execution that is still going to be dog shit. That I think is what at that certain point in time I thought may have been perfect. Still going to be dog shit. Still going to have to learn from it. Where someone else in my exact shoes that are like, fuck it, run it. And sucks. They are at V15 and very proficient in the same time I took to imagine some bullshit.
Yep. And just wish you had started.
Right. So it's, to your point, just getting comfortable with the uncomfortable.
That's particularly true with language. I mean, talk about just misspeaking, sounding dumb, your accent sucks, like whatever things that the nervousness that comes with trying to iter out like a itadakimasu. It's just like what did I put that letter in the right spot or what the hell?
Yeah, trying to say yo ichinichio, saying people have a good day, and I'm like yo. Yeah. Am I putting too many yois in there, but not enough yois?
What is that I? Yeah, exactly. Just fucking go. Just do it. Yeah, man, that's good stuff. Definitely embracing the novelty is a must do. I would say something for myself would be, it's not fully novel. I have experience with like carpentry and woodworking and stuff, but exploring more like mediums of creativity, being bad at making a box. I do really love like Japanese style woodworking too. So both of us clearly are fucking fanboys for all things Japanese. I would say that would be mine, as well as learning some Japanese. Look at that.
Oh, right on the money.
Yeah, no, we're still good though. We got some wiggle room. So takeaways would be, man, your life is more than your training. Have fun with your hobbies. Make sure that your body can hold up to the things that you want to be able to do, especially the physical things like skating and playing sports and traveling and all of that.
Surround yourself with good people.
Yes.
Lean on them.
Yes.
Actually integrate yourself properly with them. You know, a particular downfall for myself is like never wanting to feel like I'm a burden. Or anything like that.
Yeah. Not asking for help.
Right.
When it's like, it would be someone else's pleasure to provide you with that thing.
Sure. Yeah. And actually being able to really accept that and lean into that and, you know, trust that you are not damning someone else's life with something in yours.
That's very simple. Yeah. And find a partner if that calls to you. Explore your.
I mean, dude, at the very least, at least have sex. I mean,
it's a good thing to try.
Yeah, for sure. And like, it sounds so trite and stupid, but like on a chemical level, I mean, it does right some things, and there's not a proxy to it. That level of human exchange on a chemical level, you know, even it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be a deviant, you don't have to be an addict.
Sure.
But, you know, something semi-regular, you're like, oh, like my life has improved.
Yeah, 100%. And then keep yourself open, explore novelty. Don't be such a proud fuck.
Yeah.
Get out of your own way. Do things that make you uncomfortable. You'll be better for it. And you'll be glad that you did. You won't be on that quintessential American deathbed saying, oh, I wish I had done blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You don't want none of that. So
yeah, just be kind to yourself.
Yeah. Along the way. Right on, man. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise. Till the next time on The Long and Thick.
Yeah, baby.